One format done, another format that we've been so familiar with over the last few months comes back. Now, first and foremost, gentlemen, I'm going to throw one question at you. This is where we start. In Canberra, familiar conditions. How much of adapting do you have to do? Given that you've been sort of bred on that diet, we almost said, is there a hangover of T20? So you've gone from that hangover, you've gone to 3 ODIs, and now back to T20s. Any amount of adjusting to do suddenly, Michael?
Not a great deal. I think all players are so accustomed to playing T20 cricket. They've just, well, the majority of them have just been in the IPL. You could argue that this series is a lot more important than the 50-over series, because the World Cup, obviously, T20-wise, is only a year away. So I would think all teams around the world, we've just seen England beat South Africa 3-0 convincingly. They look an absolute powerhouse of a T20 team. And all the other teams around the world will be watching England and kind of trying to follow suit in terms of the way that they're playing. So these 3 T20 games, India versus Australia, I think is very important for the captains and the management to try and find their combinations. There's not that many T20 games that teams play leading into a World Cup. I guess it's probably about 10 or 15 from now right through to the start of the World Cup. So you don't really have that much time to start getting your roles and your combinations going. So it's important that you start now. And even though the conditions are slightly different, it's important that you identify certain individuals' roles very early so they get accustomed to playing those roles. And that's, I'm sure, what both sets of players and managements are going to try and achieve over the next 3 games.
But you could see Virat Kohli's focus clearly is already there. He mentioned the word boost. He's delighted with the boost that the series gave to his players, not the series, this particular game, the victory in the 3rd game in Canberra. And they carry the momentum forward. For India, it's going to be again a familiar ground. Canberra again, first T20 international.
I'm curious to know now what kind of batting lineup India will be choosing, and that is something, whether KL Rahul is actually going to open in different format, in a shorter format. His preferred place is to bat at number 1, 2, and that is something which I'm really curious about. Whether Indian team management is looking at this format differently and ODIs completely differently, whether he's actually going to keep or no. That is something which I'm curious about. Rest, I think the bowling department pretty much will stay the same. Maybe Washington Sundar might come in, which means that the stack up of the overs is also another factor which I'm keeping an eye in the first match of the series. And once that first match goes out, then pretty much what kind of thought processes which are going on with regard to this format.
Yeah, Kuldeep Yadav got himself a game before this T20 international squad, which he's not a part of. So Chahal comes back into reckoning, Michael. And of course, you've got, as Zahir said, you've got this all-rounder option finally with Washington Sundar, with Hardik once again presumably playing only as a batter.
Yeah, I like him, and also he's a good power play bowler. And the more power play bowlers that you can have in T20 cricket, the better. So I would expect Washington to get a game. We'll have to wait and see what batting lineup Virat Kohli decides upon. But both teams are, very, very good T20 teams. And by this time next year, the T20 World Cup, I'm sure both these sides, England, New Zealand, will be the 4 kind of teams that everyone's kind of looking towards. And I've said yesterday, I thought whoever beats England will win the T20 World Cup. I think England are that strong and have got so much power and depth that I do think they are at this stage the standout white ball team. Made the final in the T20 World Cup in India last time, lost to the West Indies. That Carlos Brathwaite's last over smacking Ben Stokes to Wall Park. We don't want that to happen again, but I think anyone that beats England will win the T20 World Cup next year.
I didn't want to bring that up, Michael. You did it all by yourself. Thank you very much for that. But the other importance of this particular series and any T20 internationals particularly that will be played, yes, it's great to have a tune-up in a franchise format, but to have actually your unit playing together in that format is important. And Zahir, we don't know in the next 12 months or so how many T20 internationals teams will get. So whatever you get, you need to grab it and use it.
Absolutely.
Fair enough. Short and sweet. That was unequivocal from Zahir Khan. It just shows the importance of that. But 2 teams playing. Australia at home, having just lost the game. They've lost a bit of momentum. So first job for them will be to regain that momentum. And their squad, remains unchanged, except for the fact that you can have Darcy Short, who was included in place of David Warner. They weren't going to stick him in today's game, but you see Darcy Short being drafted into that first T20 international, Mike?
No, I don't think so. I don't think they'll throw him straight in there. Matthew Wade might get a chance at the top of the order. They might go with Carey at the top of the order. We'll have to wait and see. But I don't think, particularly against India and the spinners, which they'll use, I don't think Darcy Short will get a game on Friday.
Interesting to see Australia's bowling lineup, because they've rested a couple of bowlers for the third ODI. So Stark and Cummins, contenders to come back in, and a specialist in a sense, Zahir, someone like Andrew Tye.
Yeah, he's the specialist T20 bowler, so he might get a look in. Mitchell Stark, actually, I was very keen on seeing him in today's game as well, because he certainly looks like someone who needs a bit more match bowling under his belt. Ashton Agar will have to wait and see how he pulls up after that injury scare which we saw today. He was not able to run, so that might bring in a forced change as far as the playing 11 is concerned. The rest of the players pretty much from Australian side as well looks like going to pick themselves up. So yeah, Pat Cummins for sure will be making a appearance again. Is what my feeling is, considering the T20 World Cup, which is going to be just about 10 months away. So that is something which looks like the thought process going forward for Australia.
Just one name, Michael, I want to get back to the Indian team, but one name from the Australian side, Daniel Sams, who was thrown into the IPL in a sense. Lot was expected of him. He again is more focused on the shortest format. So would they be including them, saying that, okay, Andrew Tye, Daniel Sams, that you are meant for our shortest format?
Yeah, particularly Daniel Sams. I mean, Andrew Tye's T20 form's kind of gone a little by the wayside. He had an amazing time of it a year and a half ago. Not had so much of a great time this last 12 months. But Daniel Sams, I mean, we saw him over in the IPL. He's skillful. And the fact that if Mitchell Stark's missed today in a 50-over game with a slight niggle, I can't see how he plays on Friday. So it wouldn't surprise me if they go with Daniel Sams in the Aussie side. Most teams like a left armour. Great angle changes, great variations. You can protect more sides of the ground with left armers, or captains feel that they can. So I would think that Daniel Sams has got a great chance of playing on Friday.
Zahid, one last piece of work for you to put you on the spot. We're just trying to, in our heads, come up with the Indian 11, the perfect Indian 11 for 48 hours time. So you were given the job. What would be the 11 that you would pick?
And you want me to pick 11 right away?
Right away, why not?
KL Rahul is going to open with Shikhar Dhawan. Is what I feel. Virat Kohli will be sticking to his number. He's not going to leave his number for anyone, so he'll be batting at number 3. Shreyas Iyer will be number 4. At number 5, I'm looking at Manish Pandey, and number 6 will be Hardik, and then Jadeja, maybe Washington Sundar. I'll be tempted to play him for sure, and then the 3 quicks. So Deepak Char comes in, Bumrah for sure, and Shami.
Yeah.
Okay, so you'd go Shami over Natarajan?
Yes, I think he's been pretty consistent with the new ball, giving those wickets. Natarajan has done well, but I think Shami is someone, unless they are looking at resting him for the test matches, then it's a different thought process. But if not, then I think he will get a go ahead.